Fighter and the Kid coming live from LA. We're missing the Kid, though. We're missing the Kid. It's me and producer DJ sitting here. It's the Fighter and the DJ in the house. Brian is in, I want to say Minneapolis or Minnesota. I'm not positive where the Kid's at. He is at Randy's Auto doing stand-up from 9 a.m. to 11:15. Chicken wings and jokes. Go and see Brian Callen if you're out there. What is up, people? It's good to be back in L.A., man. Costa Rica, I was out there for about 6 days, and I am just thankful to be an American and back at it. But the thing that I have to address before we move on with the show, and don't get it twisted, there will be a Kid appearance during this podcast. But the thing I've got to address is this whole Mark Hunt situation. I was getting ready to take off yesterday from Costa Rica, and I get a text from someone in the business, and they say, hey, on UFC Tonight, Mark Hunt, I guess my manager talked to Ariel Helwani, something like that, said Brendan Schaub's next fight is, he wants to fight Mark Hunt, blah, blah, blah. Well, this word got around to Mark Hunt. So Mark Hunt's words were, I feel it's a step down, which, one, drives me crazy. He said, I feel like it's a step down for me. However, if he wants to go to sleep, I'm down for the fight. So this is my response to Mark Hunt. Dear Mark Hunt, I realize you are ranked higher. I realize you are ranked 6, 7, or 8 in the world, which I do not give a flying crap about. I feel like I am better than you. I feel like if we fight 100 times, I win 99. That is why I'm calling you out. I have so much respect for you. I feel like you're a legend. You're definitely the hardest hitting fighter in the game. Without a doubt, you shattered Struve's jaw into pieces. You're a terrifying fighter, no doubt. However, I feel I am better than you. Sign the contract. I'll sign the contract. Let's do this in June. Let's see who is better. You think you can put me to sleep? I disagree. People think I'm just going to go in there, take you down, and put you to sleep. That is not my game plan. I promise you, you will see a mixed martial artist. But then again, I am not Bigfoot Silva. I'm not going to sit there flat-footed and trade shots, rock'em sock'em robots, so you can get crowned Fight of the Year because you guys are punching each other in the face and not using any technique. So man up. Let's get this contract together, and let's do this. Tell me where to sign. Tell me where you want to fight. Let's do this. Thank you, Mark Hunt. That's it, my man. Had to address that. Sorry, DJ. Had to get that off my chest, my man.
You got to, shots fired.
It's a beast. Shots fired. Everyone's matched up. Last time I fought was in September. This has been too long for me. This is a huge fight. Mark is a extremely, extremely tough fighter. One of the very best. Everyone knows who he is. It would be a huge opportunity for me, huge opportunity for him. Let's not get it twisted, my man. Hunt has basically lost his last 2 fights. So he fought number 2, Junior Dos Santos. You lost. I mean, I don't know if he even touched Junior Dos Santos. He lost that fight, got knocked out with a spinning back heel kick.
Yep.
You don't see that too much in the heavyweight division. And then he fought Bigfoot Silva. Again, 2 monsters going at it. Fight of the Year? I don't think so. However, Fight of the Year, great fight, knock each other down back and forth, both gassed, flat-footed.
I mean, what's Fight of the Year defined by just 2 guys slugging it out and beating the hell out of each other?
For the average fan, it is. They love that stuff. Great, like via Leonard Garcia, right? People love that stuff. So I get it. I get it why people are crunk about that fight. That fight was basically in your backyard, and it went to a draw. In my book, that is a loss. When it's in your backyard, it goes to a draw, that would be a loss. Because I'll tell you right now, if we were to fight in Denver and it goes to the judges' scorecards, I promise you I will probably win that fight if it goes to the scorecards in my hometown. So that, my friend, is a loss. So you've basically lost your last 2, and now I'm coming off a win streak, and I'm trying to fight you. That's the deal. Let's get it together. All right, moving on. I had to address that. There you go. Oh, and by the way, all the Pride haters, believe me, I've dealt with you guys before. With Mirko Krokop, I got death threats. When I fought Nogueira, same thing. These Pride kids are man, they are loyal, and I appreciate the hustle.
So you're expecting death threats to come from this one?
I would expect some death threats. When you fight a legend, you fight a guy of Mark Hunt's caliber, Mirko Krokop, Nogueira. You just have these fans, these crazy fans who do not want to see their heroes go down, especially to a younger fighter, someone on their way up. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I expect this stuff. So bring it. I appreciate it, though. Believe me, it doesn't get me mad. And to be honest, I don't see most of the hatred. My brother runs a lot of he filters a lot of this stuff. So when I get hatred, it gets erased before I see it. So fire away, fellas. Fire away. Jay, you got your hands full because these guys are going to be firing away. However, I don't see it. So I just assume everyone loves me. So that's why I'm so cool when you see me on the streets. I assume all you guys love me because I don't see the hatred. So I don't know, man. I've been in Costa Rica, DJ. What's going on with the UFC? Talk to me, brother.
There's been a few things going on. The most notable thing that I think the funniest thing right now is John Jones and Tyson Griffin going back and forth on Twitter. Like, honestly, outside, I know that, and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, that's what you bring up? You're not gonna bring up, Gustafsson and Manoa or Guillard and Johnson?
Yeah,
we'll bring that up later." But the funniest thing, I think, is John Jones and Tyson Griffin. They're sparring on Twitter. So, there was our very own, Damon Martin recorded a message from Cormier to John Jones.
On his phone.
He goes to John Jones and plays it for him over at the Arnold last week and says, "What do you think? Cormier's begging for a fight."
So Cormier got on his phone and was basically like, "Yo, John Jones, I want to fight you."
He said, "Brother, please, I'm begging you.
Dang.
Give me this fight." It was one of those sincere messages, right? And John Jones basically says, "Whatever, I don't fight cans." I don't know. Can you define what that means?
Can. So basically, it really doesn't make sense, right? This is the game of trash talking. But if Daniel Cormier, it's not a great comeback by John. Obviously, I'm a John Jones fan and DC fan. I think both are great. However, cans is not what I would call DC. If anyone's had the run of the mill of tougher opponents, it's probably DC. He's fought everyone at heavyweight too, and he's undersized. So a can would be a guy who powder coats his record with real crappy fighters. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. That's not DC.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
So that was his comeback. I don't fight cans. I think I saw a tweet that said, DC, I have no interest in fighting you.
Right.
Which is the way to go if you're John Jones.
Yeah, it's like, fight a couple more, and then you can get a sniff at my belt. But then,
I agree with John on this.
I mean, Tyson Griffin comes out on Twitter, I guess, after seeing this back and forth.
Jumped in, huh?
He jumps in. Like, where's he been, right?
Where's? I think he does he train people in Vegas now? Or I saw a picture and he's looking pretty thick.
Yeah, no, he's
thick kid.
I mean,
always had those quadzillas on him.
Right. But he's coming back and saying, he thinks that he basically says Johnny Bones thinks that the names on DC's record aren't top level, and he thinks it's disrespectful. Like, he came out and said, I just think it's disrespectful of John to say that DC hasn't fought anyone. And then
how did John even see this?
He must have saw it on Twitter
at
because
John
he tagged
Jones?
him. But he tagged him. So then John Jones sends him a direct message,
a
DM that then Tyson Griffin made public because he was like, "Hey, look what this guy sent me." And basically,
what John say to him?
He goes, "Thank you for the followers. What happened to you anyways?"
Dang.
And then Tyson comes back and says, "Hey, I've been working my way back from nerve damage and had neck surgery, yada, yada, yada. But, I want to get back into the fight." And he's like, so then Jones comes back and says, "Don't flatter yourself. If you're looking for work, I could use a water boy."
Oh, hell no.
And,
shots fired.
Right. Shots fired. And then he goes into, you're probably pretty psyched. He goes, "LOL. You're like, OMG, John Jones is writing me."
No, he didn't.
So he's like, you must be starstruck. Look at me. I'm helping you get followers right now. You must be really, 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 really happy.
Wow.
And then he's like, hey, why don't you save these messages for your grandkids so you can show you actually talk to the champ?
Dang, so Doug. That's intense.
Yeah, and that's all personal. That's all.
I love it. But John obviously realized what he was doing. Tyson Griffin's going to make this public.
Right.
He knew what he was doing. That's classic.
So that's just classic.
That is classic.
I love that Jones did that.
I like it. Shows personality.
Yeah, and it's like basically out of the public eye.
For sure.
He knew that Tyson was going to come out with this.
100%. John's a smart dude.
Right. But he did it. He didn't like use his Twitter handle and just started tweeting him.
No.
He went personal and said one-on-one, I'm going to clown you just one-on-one.
Dang.
You got to respect. You got to.
Did Tyson come back at all? What do you do?
He basically just let John go on and on and on about this, and then he goes, can you please stop? You're hurting my feelings. Is basically what it kind of comes down to. Man. And it's like there's no comeback. What are you going to tell the champ? The thing is,
if you're Tyson Griffin and you say something to John Jones, who's as relevant as any fighter ever in the UFC, and he's currently the champ, you better have some firepower, my man, because John's going to come back viciously, for sure.
Yeah.
Because I think what John does, you'll never see him do that to a fan ever. He's great with fans, right?
Right.
But from fighter to fighter, coworker to coworker, if you talk stuff about a guy, you better be ready for a response.
Right.
I'm sure Mark Hunt's going to have a response. I didn't disrespect him at all. The thing is with a fighter is when you call out a guy, believe me, I've been called out. Mm-hmm. I've only called out, I think, 2 people in my career ever. So besides Mark Hunt, and that's what people think. I call all these people out or all these fighters out. I've only called out really 2 guys, 3 including Mark, Mirko Crocop and Antonio Nogueira.
You kind of do that with Matt though too.
I didn't call Matt out. I did not want that fight. People think I asked for the fight. I don't know where. I think Matt said that or tweeted or something. I wanted this fight. Listen, like I said, I've called out Mirko Crocop, Antonio Nogueira, and Mark Hunt. I'm not calling out Matt Mitrione. No disrespect.
Right.
I'm shooting for the moon and hopefully landing on the stars.
Yeah.
I'm not just calling out, certain guys. So, when you call someone out, guys take it. I've been called out. Guys take it personally. It's like, dang. It like hurts down to your core because you're like, damn, I feel disrespected. This dude actually wants to get into the ring with me and fight. The difference is when I call out guys like Nogueira, Crocop, Mark Hunt, I'm doing it from a point of you're a legend. You're one of the very best in the world. I want what you have. This is not going to be easy in any facet. Right. If Mark Hunt touches me, the fight is over. I'm willing to admit that. If Mark Hunt lands his giant left hook on me, that fight is over. I'll probably have screws in my jaw like Stefan Struve. I'm very aware of this.
We're going to talk about this, I'm sure, moving as we get closer
For sure.
it. But one of the things that I observe out of Mark, and you're probably that same way, is if you don't get him down early, it's going to be hard to get him down later. Because the one thing I've noticed, even when he's on the ground, is he's so stubby. Right, he's so short. His limbs are short,
and he's very strong.
It's like, and it's not. I'm not saying this as disrespect, but it's like wrestling a pig, like a greased pig, because it's just all body. It's all torso. You're 100% correct.
Right? It's very tough to submit guys like that.
So you got to get him down early.
You don't see him get submitted very often. No. Yeah. And he's sure as hell no black belt on the ground. Will I have an advantage on the ground? 100%.
Yeah.
Will I have an advantage on the feet? I don't think so. I got to be honest with you. I think my striking is better than his. Fire away, people. I think my striking is better than his.
It's quicker for sure.
It's quicker.
Yeah.
I have better pure boxing.
Right.
He has, obviously, being the K1 champ, he freaking has the heaviest left hook in the game. His uppercuts are ridiculous. Probably has the best chin. Him or Roy Nelson probably have the best chin in the game. So, listen, I have my work cut out for me. If this fight does come to a contract and it ends up happening, I get this. That's why I asked for it. I did not ask for it because I think I asked for it because beating Mark Hunt gets me in that title picture.
Yeah.
Winning, 8 out of your last 10 fights, 7 out of your last 9 fights, you're right there for the title shot if you beat a guy of Mark Hunt's caliber. Yeah. That's why I did
If you look at the rankings as it stands right now, who are you going to fight? Stipe's taken.
Stipe was my fight. They gave Junior Dos Santos.
Alistair doesn't want to fight right now.
Alistair's in freaking Thailand.
Yeah. I mean, Roy Nelson, Frank Mir, Nogueira.
Roy Nelson's has a fight. Nogueira's fighting Nelson.
Yeah, you've already fought Gonzaga.
What's Gonzaga ranked?
He's 12.
They have Gonzaga ranked ahead of me.
Yeah.
And I beat him.
And Struve, which
Struve hasn't fought in 2 years.
I know. This is, and that's ridiculous to me. Let me
tell you something ridiculous. About the rankings. Obviously it's fun for the fans and it's fun for the media who does the rankings. None of this matters unless you have that belt. The rankings I could give 2 craps about. I do not care about the rankings. All the rankings are, unless you're champ, that's great. If you're champ and you're ranked number 1, that's all that matters. If you're below number 1, it does not matter. If you're 2, if you're 14, if you're 15, if you're 22nd, if you're 4, it does not matter. Anyone cares about is being number 1. So when these Gazelle media fans rank the toughest fighters in the world 1 through 15, I do not care. If you're number 1, that's all that matters. Kane right now is number 1. That's amazing. All the rest of us, if you're not number 1, we're all the same. Hate to tell you, Mark, you're ranked number 7. I'm ranked number what? 12, 14? I don't even know.
I honestly thought it was going to be you and Barnett.
Really?
I really thought, when I was looking at the rankings, I'm like, yeah, he's going to get the War Master.
Yeah.
And to me, the War Master, you look at a picture of him and you get scared, right? It's
he's a beast.
He's just a beast.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's the only one. I did not even think Mark Hunt.
No?
I forgot about Mark Hunt.
Yeah, I definitely didn't forget about him. I get a lot of stuff on Twitter, and people were talking about the matchup, and then Damon Martin even wrote an article on it, and I was like, man, it's starting to get some hype. And then, he's obviously not doing the rematch with Bigfoot, and he basically agreed to fight me. So, Joe Silva, Dana White, if you're listening, get the contract together, man. We can't sign fast enough. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, it's a good fight.
Yeah,
that's going to be fun.
We'll see, man. Yeah. What else you got? What other UFC news? Yeah. That John Jones Tyson Griffin is classic.
Yeah.
I feel that's the thing is, it's all fun and games until Tyson put, dang, dog, you hurt my feelings. I bet it did though. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I've been out of the game, and then you get that. Ugh.
Yeah, and there's some Ronda news. Obviously, Ronda is still out there. They're talking about her next matchup. It's Rogan kind of sort of teased something, and then Dana said, well, I don't know what Rogan knows, but we're trying to work something out. So they go into, we're going to say something this week to maybe next week.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to say, well, maybe the week after. Mm-hmm. Who knows what's ever going to happen with this, but they don't want to let go of Ronda just yet. Keep that hype train moving, but they're talking Cyborg, they're talking Holly Holm, there's Gina Carano, really,
that would be my dream matchup.
But why? Why?
That would be my dream matchup. Because
Tell me why. She's been out of the game for a while.
She's been out of the game doing movies.
Right.
However, if you look at Ronda and you look at the landscape of the women's division, who would you like to see her fight next? Okay, Sarah McMahon made sense. She had one fight in the UFC. She was a former Olympic silver medalist. So you play the Olympic medals thing, right? And you can build up that fight. That's whatever. The girls only had one fight in the UFC. No one knows who Sarah McMahon is. No one.
Yeah.
So we've always known who Ronda's next opponent is. As soon as she wins, we know who's next for her. This is the first time we're not sure. You can't just throw her another girl who we've never heard of and try and build her up and throwing these girls in the main event. Ronda right now has the same effect. You ready for this, people? Has the same effect as Mike Tyson. Yeah. These girls are beat before they even get into the octagon with her because she's fighting girls with no experience in the UFC. Ronda's that good that they have to come up with stuff. Sarah McMahon went from fighting on the undercard to being launched in the main event against Ronda Rousey. So not only are you fighting the very best women's fighter of all time, you're the main event. You've never even been on the main card. Let me tell you something. Being in the UFC for almost 6 years, the undercard and the main card are two different shows. If you're on the undercard, there might be, 300 people in the crowd. It's just not the same intensity. You just kind of, work your way up to the main card. When you're on the main card, even from if you're on the first or second fight on the main card to the co-main event or main event, there's a different feeling. So these girls getting launched into the main event, dude, it's too much.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's too much.
When you see the prelims and you see the seats are empty because people are still getting their drink on, they're still doing things.
And nowhere's worse than Vegas.
And it's empty,
Vegas
right?
is the worst because you fight on the undercard in Vegas, it's just like there's 3 people in the stands. It's your brother, sister, wife, and you can hear everything clear as day.
Yeah, it's like fighting in the gym, right?
Exactly. It's hard to get up for it, man. Yeah. Granted, I've never been there because it's been a different story coming off The Ultimate Fighter. However, that's the problem with these girls is they're getting these girls who they just don't have any experience and they're getting launched and you get this Mike Tyson effect where, all right, I've never fought someone of Ronda's caliber. I'm the main event. I've been doing more interviews this week than I've done my entire life. I've done more photo shoots than I've done my entire life. Now I got to cut weight, and now I'm the last fight on the card. And, oh, yeah, you have this Tasmanian devil that has the best armbar in the game coming at you now before you can even realize you're the main event.
And she does like 2 photo shoots a day.
Yep.
Does all these interviews. This is all like,
dude,
regular.
For Ronda,
for regular.
For Ronda, she started on the Strikeforce Challengers, but she was even a big deal back then. And then, then she fights for the belt and she's Strikeforce champ. And UFC, her first fight in the UFC, she's the main event over Hendo Machida and Brendan Schaub, LeVar Johnson. What? So it's a big deal, man. Big deal.
Yeah. There's some other things. I mean, let's just real quick, like Cyborg. Let's just close the door on this. We talked a little bit about.
We talked about this.
Can we close the door on it? Like, is that really ever going to happen?
Listen. It shouldn't happen. If you want the women's division to go down the drain, go ahead and sign Cyborg. There could not be a better representation of what you don't want to do with women's MMA. Cyborg is not attractive. She's obviously been on steroids and is probably still on them. She's never made 135. You do not want that as your women's champ. No one's trying to chime in and see this girl who looks like a man beat up a pretty girl. We don't want that.
You know what? I did find a picture of her that was semi-attractive.
You're digging it?
I was looking. I was like, whoa.
Are you also the guy that goes to Brazil and looks at the lady boys?
Maybe I'm a little weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'll bring it up and show you.
But compared to Ronda, Misha Tate, come on
now. There's no comparison to those.
Exactly.
Those two were like angels.
Who do you want your champ as? You know what I'm saying? Listen, it's not. I'm going to do you guys a favor. It's not happening. She's just not marketable. It's not going to happen. You can't have that as your women's champ. The reason Gina Carano makes sense is because she is a megastar. She's very easy on the eyes. She's a huge movie star. Granted, it's her candle's kind of dimmering, right? What makes sense? Bringing her back in this huge super fight with Ronda.
Because her Hollywood star is dimming a little bit.
Yeah, so what can we do to get her better? Because the production studios in Hollywood aren't offering these crazy roles in Fantastic Four and all this stuff.
And Ronda's kind of taking those roles.
Ronda's taking those roles. You can only have one. So if I'm Gina Carano,
it's kind of a grudge match.
Exactly.
So it's like, you're coming into Hollywood taking my roles. Now I want to put my fist in your face.
Exactly.
Exactly. I like
and they're both really, really hot, man. I just sold them
I like that a lot.
Yeah, dog.
Oh my God. Now it looks like Brian is ready. Let's
bring in the kid, Brian Callen from Minnesota at Frank's and Harry's car lot.
Free porks and beans.
If he doesn't answer, I'm going to take a warm hand to his face.
Oh, dude. Wow.
Callen.
He hung up on us. Let's call him again. He answered.
So Callen and I were supposed to do the podcast late last night, but my flight from Costa Rica got delayed, so I didn't get home about midnight. Dude, for reals?
I'm calling the same number.
Brian Callen.
Did he ignore us?
Record your message. When you have finished.
Oh, wow. We should have left him a message.
What is going on here? I'm trying to text and my text won't go out.
Let's try this again.
Yeah, my text won't go out.
Yeah, it's kind of a dead zone here.
Dang.
Otherwise, it's the worst. We're surrounded by like hills and we're like right next to the beach. It's just not a good situation for phones.
It's weird. It's 2014 and we still have these problems.
In LA.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thank you for answering the phone, Brian Callen.
You got it, Brendan. It's great to hear your voice. I'm here in Minnesota. Wow, the weather's great. How come I don't live here?
What exactly? Tell the people what you're doing out there, buddy. You're at Frank's Auto Body, getting paint jobs and telling jokes.
I'm doing a little stand-up at Rick Bronson's House of Comedy in the Mall of America, and I say it's the biggest mall in the world, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. They have like a theme park in there, right?
Water
yes, they do have a theme park in here. It's fun. is about to double because I'm bringing my comedy to a theme park. All right.
I like it. Now, do you always do podcasts in Minnesota underwater, or is that your cell phone, or are you scuba diving, or?
No, I beg your pardon. I maybe I have a bad connection. How do I sound now?
A little better. I mean, it's not horrible. I mean, you're no Roy Jones quality, but it's good. Roy Jones sounded like he was in a wind tunnel and slapping baby seals.
Well, then let's be honest about this podcast. It's going to suck as far as connections. Okay? Let's just be honest.
What?
Well, this is an experiment, but we're going to answer some questions, I believe.
Yeah, I got a ton of questions just loaded for us to go. Do you want to knock that out now? I mean, we got a bunch of them here, buddy.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
All right. Well, I'm going to knock one question out myself right now because we got about 50 of them that says, Big Brown, at Brian Callen, Shab, when's your next fight? I'm praying it's...
Actually, before we go that, I have a question for you. Before we go into these questions, here's my question to you as a fighter, as a top-ranked UFC fighter. I just want to say that I don't understand why Gustafsson. Let's just talk about the fights for 2 seconds, please. Because
Okay.
I don't know how I'm supposed to care that much about these upcoming fights.
You're saying you just have no interest in these international fights?
Not really. I mean, Gustafsson, who shocks the world by giving it to John Jones and almost beat him, is
I
now
agree.
fighting a guy nobody knows about.
I
Can
know,
you explain
man.
that to me?
You know,
Explain that.
I know. Let me. I'll try. I don't know what the Dana White's and Joe Silva's plan is with this one, but so he was originally supposed to fight Little Nogueira, and that he fell. That fight fell through, but that was months and months ago. That was probably 6 months ago. So then this Jimmy Manawa is from England. It's his hometown. His manager, who's also my manager, Lex McMahon, sold the fight to Joe Silva and Dana White, saying it's his hometown. You know, who else are you going to put in there? He'll stand and bang with Alexander Gustafsson. And it got done. Now, listen, this is the problem. This UFC Fight Pass doesn't allow us in America to watch it on TV. You know, you got to have Apple TV or you got to have the subscription, watch it on your computer. We don't see any of the build up. So I agree. There's no hype around these international fights for us in the States. There's just not.
You got this incredible fighter. You got Gustafsson. You got this incredible athlete who nobody. I mean, this guy is as good as John Jones.
I agree.
You're putting him on that venue where nobody can see it. Wow.
I agree, but at the same time too, what's the biggest fight in the UFC right now that's not made? John Jones, Gustafsson 2. John Jones is fighting Glover Teixeira, and Gustafsson, you know, let's be honest, this is a cakewalk fight for Gustafsson. If he fights smart, he's going to beat Jimmy Manawa in probably the first or second round very easily. So now you're making it so this fight's going to be even more build up and they fight each other. I think that was their plan booking this fight. They want Gustafsson to have the next shot. They don't want to throw him a really, really tough fight. That's coming from a fan's perspective who's followed the UFC since 1993 in his hometown of Denver. But what do I know?
Let me jump in, like, Manawa's no slouch. I mean, he's 14 finishes, all 14 wins. Right?
True.
The poster boy's been knocking guys out.
Who has he fought, though, DJ? Who has he fought? Yeah. What are we talking about here? How tall is he? Number one, how tall is he?
He's not that tall. He's not that tall. He has good stand-up. Listen, he has no grappling abilities at all. He has a puncher's chance because he has very heavy hands.
Yeah.
He fought Kyle Kingsbury.
Diabate.
Yeah.
Jimmo.
Yeah, Jimmo. He hasn't fought anyone at a world-class level. He just hasn't. And Alexander Gustafsson is, if John Jones is ranked number 1, Gustafsson's ranked 1.5. You know what I'm saying? He's right there. He's 0.5. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's the UFC.
But it is. It's to your point. It's the local boy, you know, who has a heavy hand.
It's a good story.
Right.
It's a good story. Yeah. If you're from London, it's a good story.
But that's how they're booking these Fight Pass fights, Brian, too, is you're not necessarily supposed to care about the live. You're just supposed to know that, you know, I can go anytime and watch these fights.
That's so crazy to me.
But you have the golden boy. I mean, quite literally, Gustafsson is the golden boy here. You can make him a marquee fighter. I don't even understand why.
Good-looking kid, too.
Yeah.
Good-looking kid, too, right, B?
Yeah, he's a good-looking kid. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but you know what? When Big Brown, who gets his share of the hungry eyes, when Big Brown walks in with Gustafsson, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to say it out loud. I'm afraid that light, the dazzle from his golden lock,
I know,
tends to shine a shadow on even Big Brown. I'm afraid the hungry eyes move over to the 6'6" guy.
I agree. I can't deny it. He's a good-looking fella. Just looks like a real Viking. A real Viking. He looks like the guy who's also from his hometown on True Blood, but a real vampire.
That is correct, sir. Yeah,
good-looking dude.
He makes the guy from True Blood look like he's anemic and he's got rickets.
Yeah, he looks like
he dwarfs.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Anyways, moving on. B, let's knock out some of these questions. You ready for this? We got some good ones.
Bring it.
This is from Adam Wheeler on Twitter, at LaDrama Madan, at Brian Callen, at Brendan Schaub. What's the best way to break up with a girlfriend? Hashtag Fighter and the Kid. I'll let you take this one first, Brian.
Okay. You don't want to hurt a girl's feelings.
Well,
so
that's
what I would
happen,
suggest is you either stage your own death or just tell her you have to leave town for a long time and then avoid her. Is that mature? I don't know.
You stage your own guest, huh?
Well, yeah, or just be like, listen, and say you live in Kentucky. Look at her and go, listen.
I mean, you could always listen. I think this is the best policy to go with. I think you got to be up front. I don't know the dude's situation. I think you got to be right up front. And the thing you want to make sure you don't want to end it where they hate you. You're going to break their heart, but don't end it where they hate you. Just let her.
And remember, when you're really honest with somebody, they can never say the one thing they can never really be mad at you for is saying he was really honest. That's the end of the day. You were really honest.
True.
And you'll be one of the few people she can actually point to. Might make her love you more, but listen. At least you're treating her with integrity and respect.
I agree. So there you go, my man. Good luck. Be up front with her. Just spit her the truth. Hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully you didn't cheat on her. Hopefully you didn't run away with her mom or something weird. But be up front with her. DJ, give us the next one, my man. Yeah, DJ's gonna rip them out for us, Brian.
I got some. So it looks like we already kind of covered a couple of these earlier with you and Mark Hunt, but it looks like Joe Kelly. So Joe Kelly 1305 asks if you could take on any heavyweight, past, present. I don't know how future. He asks in future heavyweight. So someone who's in the crib right now.
Yeah.
But like anybody current or past or present, you could take on. Who would that be?
This is a question for Big Brown?
Yeah, this is a Big Brown question.
You can answer this too after me, Brian. Who you take on if you could fight anyone?
If you had Big Brown's body, who would you take on?
Who would you take, Brian? You're me.
I mean, who do I want? Who do I think would be a challenge?
Well,
and you're talking about UFC heavyweight?
No, he's saying you can't even go old school. You could say Don Fry. You could say,
Yeah, but the problem is that Brendan is a new breed of fighter, and so if you put Brendan in with guys even like 8 years ago, I think they're going to have their hands full. So, you have to kind of almost talk about what happens now. Brendan's biggest challenges are guys like, it's really a handful of guys. It's obviously Cain Velasquez. And probably I think he can beat Alistair Overeem. But the guys that I want to see him fight are Fabricio Verdum and Cain Velasquez and Junior Dos Santos. Those are the three guys that I'm going to be holding my breath.
What do you think about Mark Hunt, B?
Well, I think Mark Hunt was a K1 champion. Remember, he was a K1 champion primarily self-taught. He kicks and hits with like a mule. I mean, harder than almost anybody.
True.
But the one thing about Mark Hunt is that he's basically not the athlete that Brendan is, and he doesn't have the ground game that Brendan does. So God help us, he gets to the ground, and he doesn't have the cardio that Brendan has. So it's a combination of things. So I think Mark Hunt should be more worried. The thing about Mark Hunt is you have to take him very, very serious. They don't have a lot of margin for error.
Nope.
By the guy who hits that hard and kicks that hard.
True.
Okay. So But having said that, if I'm going into that fight, I'd rather be Brendan Schaub than Mark Hunt.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. I mean, you are my best friend, so I expect that answer, but whatever.
Go to fantasy world, though. So
Yeah,
I mean,
if we go fantasy world.
go back to Pride.
Yeah,
right?
if we go Pride, I would probably say put me in when they do those Grand Prix and they were all young. I'd love to be in that Grand Prix when it was like Wanderlei Silva, Crow Cop, Mark Hunt, Nogueira, Fedor. What? I mean, are you kidding me? That is the Hall of Fame. There will never be any better than those group of men. You know what I'm saying? I want to be part of that, which is why I fought Crow Cop, Nogueira. Now I'm coming after Mark Hunt. There you go. I want to be part of that. I'm living in a fantasy. What you got next, DJ?
I got Daniela Ruby, who has a really interesting Twitter picture of her sucking on a strawberry right there.
Okay.
Yeah. She says, how come we haven't seen the fighter and the kid roll, spar, or race? She wants you guys to showcase your ability.
I mean, I've posted from the Love Line studio, me and Callan grappling. I think you guys would be surprised with Callan's grappling. He's very tricky. I'm
very, very tricky, and when I'm wrestling you, I'm going, shh, I'm keeping you calm. Passive, as the Brazilian say, and then I move on you, and then I close the gap.
He's very tricky. You'll see some stuff. If you look at Brian's Instagram or my Instagram, especially when we post stuff about the fighter and the kid shop.com, our shirts and stuff, we're always doing something on there, grappling. He waterlogged me the other day. I forgot to tell people about that.
It's called waterboard.
No, waterlogged is what I call it. The fighter and the kid, it's referred to as waterlogged, my man. Waterboard is old school. I use the new Al Qaeda terms.
We should tell the people that we're actually selling more. We're actually having better shirts and underwear made.
This is true. This is true. But listen, when I got waterlogged, as I like to call it, you're not getting a peep out of me. Brian waterlogged me the other day at his house, and how about it was nothing? How about I took it like a champ and not?
I can't wait.
You wouldn't get a word out of me,
dude. We're gonna do a video for YouTube. I'm gonna waterboard you for real, and I want to get some information. We're gonna see how long it takes. I'm gonna make a call right now. I'll get everything I want. You'll sing like a canary in less than 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
Less than 3 minutes.
B, you know what you need, though? We need two guys to hold me down, because the reason I'm not scared, because at any time I could flick you away like a flea and get out of it. We need two big dudes holding me down.
You might be right. We definitely do.
All right, next question.
Well, no, we'll tie you down.
Yeah, tie me down, I guess.
All right, so Khaki Raphael at London_calling is asking, what's the biggest wild animal you think you could single-handedly sellotape to a lamppost? I assume this means duct tape.
Duct tape?
Yeah.
The biggest animal?
That's a good question.
That's a creative question. You want me to take it first, B? Listen.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was in Costa Rica, and I was on this safari where there was wild crocodiles and all this stuff. And besides a couple of these large crocodiles, we're talking like dinosaur-sized crocodiles, call me crazy, I feel like I could grab one of these crocodiles and kind of whoop its ass. I feel like I could jump on its back and freaking close its nose holes and choke it out or drown it.
Really?
I think I could drown it, yeah. I wasn't scared at all. You'll see on my Instagram me slapping the crap out of a giant crocodile. That is very frowned upon. They were not happy.
Dude.
But there's this giant dinosaur. Yeah, there's this giant dinosaur crocodile. You'll see me hanging out of the boat slapping it. Because guess what? If you were to turn around.
That picture scared me. That picture literally scared me.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts. So I think I would say a medium-sized crocodile. I feel I could jump on its back, close its nose holes with my 2 fingers, wrestle him around underwater, and just hang on until he gives up, and then I'll duct tape him to a tree and pee on him. Go ahead, Callan.
Okay, well, that's the equivalent of me saying, you know, guys, I wrestled in high school and I have a black belt in Taekwondo. I feel like I can actually step into the welterweight division in the UFC without training at all, and or even losing weight, and actually, I don't know, knocking a couple guys out with my wheel kick. That's the equivalent of that. Okay?
Of me grabbing a crocodile. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I remember looking at it and I wanted to try it, But then I thought first of all, I asked the guy before I thought about this, I go, how many crocodiles are in this river? He goes, about 5,000. It's one of the most populated rivers in the world. So then I thought, if I jump on his back and I close his nose, all his homies are going to jump on me and tear me to pieces. I'm talking, we're at a pool. We're at a pool at Disney, Disney World or something like that. We're in a pool. There's a crocodile in there trying to attack me. I'm jumping on its back, drowning that thing.
Well, here's what you need to understand. First of all, the minute it grabs a hold of any one of your appendages,
it's not going to, Brian.
And it's going to. Hold on, and it's going to.
Okay.
It's first of all, it's faster and stronger than you, 100%.
100% faster. Stronger, I disagree. Stronger, I disagree.
Well, you're wrong, but it's going to latch onto one of your limbs, and it's going to start doing what's called the death roll. It's going to spin. And guess whose arm or leg is coming right off, like G.I. Joe's does?
The crocodiles?
When you're a kid.
The crocodiles?
No, yours. No, yours, partner. Yours. And by the way, doing it underwater. Waterboard boy. So you're breathing in water. You're terrified, and you go, "Oh no, I'm in the clutches of a dinosaur," and it's doing what it's evolved to do over millions of years. How come my Darce choke isn't working on this crocodile that kills things with its face? All right, don't ever talk to me about how you drown a crocodile.
I drown a crocodile closing up its nose holes with my 2 fingers jumping on its back, bro. I get my hooks in.
With your 2 fingers. Okay. Well, by the way, here's the other thing I got to say.
They can hold their breath for an hour.
You basically, you could kill any crocodile, I would say, if you could jump on its back under 5 feet long. I mean, anything over 6 feet, you're taking a water nap. Okay?
Bro, that's what I'm saying. One of those smaller ones. I'm not saying the giant ass crocodile, in the movies like Lake Placid. I'm talking about just your normal run of the mill, worn out crocodile.
All right. I got a fun fact for him.
Moving on.
No, hold on. A crocodile's bite is approximately 5,000 PSI.
That's
so
intense.
That's 15
pounds per square inch.
Yes.
Pounds per square
That's
inch.
15 times the biting strength of a Rottweiler, 12 times the biting strength of a great white shark.
Dang.
It's the most powerful bite on the planet.
I get this, fellas. I get this. I'm saying I jump on this weathered crocodile's back who's been in the game for about 50 years. He's full of food. He's very lethargic. It's hot out. The water's about, ankle high. I jump in, smush his face and nose into the mud, and close up his breathing tubes on his nose.
He's not going to be thrashing and wiggling you free and whacking you about with his tail. And by the way, when he latches down on any part of your body, guess what happens? You shut down. You shut right down. Okay? Now, I'm going to put you in a Darce choke. I'm literally going to sink a rear naked choke, and you won't be able to get out of it. And then I want you to, I don't know, multiply that by 20 times. And that's what a croc does.
Now, I get it, man. Listen, the lady asked me a question. I feel like I could take out a small crocodile by drowning it, by closing its nostrils underwater.
A little baby.
What can you do?
I like your confidence. I want that kind of confidence when you go into your next fight.
Well,
all right,
Callan, we should move on, but do you think you can beat any animal? I mean, listen, I'll tell you what Callan could do is if he saw a sloth, you could take out a sloth. You could wheel kick a sloth in a tree standing still.
I'll beat the crap out of a sloth. I could take a small deer and wrestle it to the ground. I'm talking about a baby deer. I'll kill a duck. I'll kick a duck right in its face.
Ooh, you're gonna kick an innocent duck in its beak?
If a duck came at me, and for that matter, if a goose came at me, I'll kick him right in his neck. I'll kick him right in his stupid neck, and I'll bend that neck just like Anderson Silva's foot bends around Chris Weidman's knee.
He said,
that goose neck bends right around my roundhouse. And there's no more goose. I'm having early Christmas goose. Okay.
All right.
So those are the animals I'm beating up.
All right, moving on.
Yeah,
So I can take out a crocodile. Brian can beat up a sloth, a duck, or a baby deer. There you have it, people.
All right, next
Go on.
question. So this one revolves around your boy toy Tim Tebow. So when is Tim Tebow?
Hold on. Let me get my hand in my pants. Okay, keep going.
All right, ready? Okay, so when do you think Tim Tebow would ever begin to fight MMA? Would he ever?
No, listen, I get this question all the time. Tim is one of my closest friends, so we do each other's workouts. So I'll do his football workout. I'll do all his football lifting. I'm on the same program as him where we work out at. So in exchange, he wants to do boxing or do some grappling. Listen, Tim Tebow will never compete in mixed martial arts. Tim Tebow is a football player. Tim Tebow is an ESPN analyst. He goes around the country giving speeches and motivational speeches and stuff like that. He is never going to take a punch to the face in the UFC or mixed martial arts. He's doing it just to cross-training, stuff like that. This kid makes so much money outside of sports, it would blow your mind. He is never going to take a mixed martial arts
Let me
fight.
ask you this question.
And
we know how you
let me
talk about how powerful he is.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Well, I'll get back to it. All I was going to say is, and let me also do you a solid. This, and Brian, all jokes aside, I'm being honest with you guys. Tim will 100% play in the NFL next year. Whatever you hear on ESPN, whatever you hear on NFL Network, whatever you hear on your local news station, listen, Tim has a ton of offers from NFL teams that want him on their team. Don't get it twisted. Just because last season, he did not play, he had offers to play. He's waiting for the right situation. He's training harder than anyone I know. Every single day working on his throwing mechanics. He's in crazy shape. He could step in right now and play quarterback for any team in the NFL for 16 games.
Let me ask you this question. As athletic as he is, fighting is a weird thing. Like, it's a different kind of body.
It's a mindset.
The way you get power.
It's a mindset.
What do you think if he trained, would he have been at the top of his game in the MMA world?
I do. And this is very rare. You'll hear me say this because people ask me all the time. Do you think more NFL guys get into the UFC? Do you think more, athletes who would maybe go NBA or NFL come over to the UFC? And the answer is not a chance, because the discipline and the mental preparation it takes to be a UFC fighter is like nothing in the world. It is so damn tough to be a UFC fighter and to mentally chime out those negative thoughts and go in the octagon and still perform. There's very, very few people in this world, let alone guys who are as athletically gifted as, NBA and NFL players, who could actually do it. If I had one guy, and I'm just not saying this because he's a very close friend, if there's one guy with the same mentality as me, it's Tim Tebow. This kid's mentality is insane. Listen, Tim hasn't had a bite of dessert in 15 years. And we were at this table, and it's not season. He's not even close to playing, right? There's no training camp. There's no reason. He could eat dessert. I'm not like Tim. I will have dessert outside of the camp. Outside training camp, I will have dessert. I'll have a beer here and there. Tim has not touched alcohol, not even dessert. And finally, I said to him, he's like,
are you guys dating?
Get out of here. He goes, oh, I love the smell of this. So he'll smell it, right? To cure his craving or something like that. And I go, bro, try a bite of it. You're being weird. Don't be ridiculous. And his response to me was, oh yeah, today's the day I woke up and said, I want to get worse. I'm going to eat dessert and get worse at my craft. And I was like, dang. And I asked his trainer who writes his diet and writes all his program. I go, and this guy works with the biggest NFL stars in the world. There's no bigger than his trainer, who's also now my trainer. And I go, are the rest of your athletes like Tim Tebow? They follow us? And he goes, not even close. I've never seen anything like it. He goes, the discipline this kid has, I've never, and this guy, he's performed in the Olympics, he competed in the Olympics, he's been around world-class athletes all his life. He said he's never seen the discipline and just the determination of a guy like Tim. I'm telling you, man, it's another level. He makes me feel lazy. It makes me feel lazy. It's crazy.
Well, you got to have people that inspire you. Let's move on from Tim Tebow. I didn't know it was a Tim Tebow hour, and I appreciate that.
I'm sorry, Brian. I'm sorry you're at Scruffy Murphy's Auto Shop in Minnesota. So I got a call from my Cricket phone line. It's Cricket, everyone, connecting you via podcast.
No, come on. That's crazy talk.
It's a throwaway Cricket phone I picked up from T-Mobile. All right, next question.
Next question. So, Manny Lopez 88 is asking, how do you pick your walkout music?
I pick my walkout music in camp. I always make a playlist. Usually my brother sends me a bunch of different music, and I set it to a place, and I always work out to it. And a walkout song, to me, I usually decide the week of a fight. You know, the UFC would text me and say, hey, what's your walkout music? I decide that week of whatever gives me goosebumps. I'll close my eyes and I'll go through the soundtrack, and I picture myself walking out, and whatever gives me goosebumps is what I pick. Last time I picked this song, it was God, I forget the name of it now, but it was a Kanye West remix from these. It was a song based out of England, and my coach Tony Jeffries loved the original song, and then my brother sent me the remix, and it was just. I'll tweet it to you guys, but it was ridiculous. So I usually like to. What's weird is I used to walk out to the same song every time, Eminem's Square Dance. And then, I lost a fight, and then I was like, all right, this song's bad luck. And so I've switched it up every time, but I'll find one, stick with it soon, especially I'm on a win streak now.
All right, Manny has a question for you, Brian. If you were a fighter, what would your nickname be?
Big Baby.
My nickname would probably be Ronda Rousey.
It'd be the Kid for sure.
No question, the Kid. Or something like Sundance. Just something cool and bright, shiny.
Brian, the Sundance Kid Callen.
Like a 20s boxer's nickname.
Yeah, I like it. Moving on.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of questions, by the way.
Yeah. So here's another one. This is for both of you. If you could train in a martial art for 1 year, completely focused on it, what would that martial art be? And that's from Guillermo Ponce.
Now, is it to get ready for a UFC fight or just 1 year doing whatever I want?
1 year.
This is no brainer for me. Jiu-jitsu.
Well, your answer is jiu-jitsu.
100%.
I think maybe jiu-jitsu because the way you feel and how the kind of shape gets you in, but it's really hard. I'm really enjoying boxing, but there's so much to learn. It really comes down to whether you're a stand-up guy or a wrestling guy. I think I prefer wrestling in some ways because stand-up is so,
just for the love of God, pick one.
I got to go to jiu-jitsu.
Well, you went jiu-jitsu? I'm with you, B.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, I got to go jiu-jitsu.
Although I met Tony Jeffries for breakfast this morning. He said you're in yesterday. He said your boxing's getting damn good. And Tony doesn't give out compliments very often.
Yeah, but it's not getting good, and I have a long way to go. But in a year, we'll talk, and if I keep doing it, I may have something to say. For an actor, you might go, "Oh, that guy can actually. He doesn't look like a complete spaz." I'll give myself that in a year.
He's gonna be like the Jonas Brothers who do jujitsu, and it's like, wow, they're pretty powerful. Holy crap!
Exactly.
Awesome. Actually, while we were talking, there's something breaking here, and I want your guys' input on this. California has effectively banned TRT.
That just happened now?
Just happened. We just went out with a story with it. It's a temporary ban, but it's following suit of Nevada. So I wanted to get your guys' input as this is breaking.
You want me to go first, B? I'll go first. Listen, TRT, if you want to be compared to MLB, NFL, NBA, Olympics, if you want to be taken seriously as a sport, you can't have some guys on steroids and some guys not on steroids. You can't have a guy who looks like Alistair Overeem and have a guy look like Cain Velasquez. You just can't do it. So if you want guys on TRT, everyone should be allowed to take TRT. If my testosterone level's at 300 and let's say Alistair Overeem is on TRT and he's taking steroids so his level's at 1,000 because that's still legal in most states, it's still an unfair advantage. So either everyone gets to do it or no one gets to do it. And right now I'm all about no one gets to do it. And all these guys complain.
I agree 100%. I think that, remember, sports before all this stuff happened, you had to train extra hard. You had to find your advantage the way you found your advantage. What you're doing now is saying, well, my testosterone levels are naturally a lot lower than that guy's. I'm just going to bring him up to, what his are.
Yeah.
If you start playing that game, forget it.
Where'd you stop
now
at?
everybody is on steroids. It makes no sense.
I'm all about it. Liz, I think it's a huge step in the right direction. Listen, our guys, and it's always going to be part of sport. Hate to tell you, it's always going to be part of any sport. Whatever they ban, guys are going to find a way around it. I get it. But now you're making it a little more difficult for them. Now you're making it so not everyone's getting TRT. And listen, guys like Chael Sonnen and, I love Chael, but guys like Chael and guys like Vitor Belfort, who we know are on it, listen, man, you're going to have to find something else. If you want to compete at this level, you're going to have to figure something else out. I hate to tell you. And it sucks.
Well,
I love both of those
because
guys.
TRT can become a psychological – it can do two things to you. First of all, it can become it's just as much of a psychological crutch as anything. Because now when you're not on it, you can't fight as well. You don't feel strong.
Yes.
Two, the other advantage that TRT has, people talk about, is if you're on TRT, you can say what you want about bringing your levels up. At the end of the day, it keeps you are more likely to be injury free, and you can train harder and train more frequently. So that
100%.
is a huge advantage.
100%.
It is a huge advantage. And finally, the third thing that people don't talk about is the fact that if you keep manipulating your endocrine system that way, what a lot of people experience, I'm not a doctor, but a lot of people experience that they've been on TRT and then they go off it, their testosterone levels plummet. Now they really need. So you're playing with your endocrine system. Sometimes you can throw it out of whack. So I think that making it illegal at the end of the day, you either make it legal or you make it illegal. There's no in between.
I agree, but you can't have exemptions. There's no exemptions. Listen, I had my levels tested when I was in college. I was very lethargic all the time, and my family has a history of being diabetics. So they thought I had diabetes. So my dad takes me to his doctor. They do all these tests. They cannot figure out why I'm so lethargic. I was a sophomore in college. The last thing they did was test my testosterone levels. I had low testosterone. Guess what I did?
Yeah.
Nothing. I manned the heck up. I got on my horse. I changed my diet. It's just something you're going to deal with. Some people have it, some people don't. Listen.
And by the way, you got more sleep. It might have been, a lot of times when you train the way you do in a T1 sports program, these guys are getting trained. You're a young kid.
I'm overtraining. It's overtraining, man. It's overtraining. Listen, you're training, 2 a days, 3 a days, Monday through Friday. Then you're going out, you're partying on Saturday. You're up all night, stuff like that. Things happen. Do I wish that they could give me an injection and my levels were the same as Alistair Overeem's and Vitor Belfort? Sure, man. But listen, what makes fighters? It goes back to saying this, guys. It goes back to saying you don't want the guy to win. You don't want the champion of your sport to be the guy with the best doctors. That's not what you want. Yeah, you're 100% correct. But also
that can't be part of the criteria.
At the same time, too, a part of being a fighter. Listen, there's some days when I'm in camp, I can barely get out of bed. I'm like, dang, I don't know how I'm going to get out of it. I wish I could stay in bed today. I don't feel like doing this. What separates winners and losers and contenders and pretenders is I get my ass out of bed, even though I might have low TRT levels. I might, not feel well. I get out of bed and I go do 3 practices and I do them damn well. That's the difference. Right. Do I listen, if I could take a shot, would I do it if it was legal? I don't know. I'm worried about my kids later in the future. All right, moving on.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to some fan questions. So, Michael Griot, I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Names are tough. It's all right,
yeah. Well, they're not as tough as when you pronounce them, but they're pretty tough. Do you guys play any video games?
Go ahead, Brian. You're 47 years old. You play any video games?
I'm a reader. I read and I play tennis and I box. My life is a video game, damn it.
That's true. My life is also a video game. No, Not really. I mean, I'll play if I'm around my boys. I'll play some Madden. I'll play NCAA football, and then of course the UFC game. For whatever reason, people always want to play me in the UFC
Mobile app, Candy Crush, anything like that?
Nothing. All my friends. I was just talking about everyone plays Candy Crush. I don't want to be on my phone. Or I'm on it as much as already. You know, I don't want to be on it playing video games. I'm also a grown ass man who has a birthday in 12 days. I'm not playing video games in my off time. I'd rather go hang down Abbott Kenny and look at pretty girls with Brian.
Exactly. All right. Then moving on. Next question.
All right. Next question. So, in a scenario in a bar, this is from Death Squad Norway.
Oh, I like this guy. Hey, Death Squad, keep tweeting. You have some good tweets. I remember you now.
Yeah, this one's pretty damn good.
Let's hear this.
This is Crow Cop and Boz Rutan versus 8 Brian Callens in a bar. What would happen?
That's a good question. I brought the 8 Brian Callens. If it really counts, the 8 Brian Callens are going to win.
How does it go down?
Well, we break up in 4-on-4, and it's going to be hard because I'm telling every Brian Callens to just bum rush. You got to go in and take the shot. One of us is getting knocked out, but I don't know. You got to go in, turtle up, and just charge in, take the shot, absorb it, and the rest of you just go for the chokes, the punches. I say don't even try to wrestle. Just start hitting.
Okay. All right. You ready for reality now, Brian? Now that you're playing this video game with 8 of you versus Boss and a freaking prime Crow Cop. Listen, you saying that 8 of you could beat Crow Cop and Bass Rutan is ridiculous. I have a better chance with the dinosaur crocodile. First of all,
You're out of your mind.
you 4 would rush Crow Cop and a head kick would literally slap all 4 of you in the face. You'd all get knocked out. Then it's 2-on-4. It's a prime Boss Rutan in a bar. I know you've seen his YouTube video where he's all pow, ping, big dang, dang. I know you've seen that. So now you got to deal with that.
No.
Well, you need to tune into it because Boss Rutan was born to fight in a bar, and he has all these tricks. So then it's you 4 slappies versus these 2, and you don't have a chance. There's no chance. 8 Brian Callens.
It's a very good question. It's a very good question.
I have a better shot with a dinosaur crocodile. Anyways, moving on.
All right, so we have, let's see, where'd it go? Michael Grinnell again, but he asked a really good question, so we got to get back to this guy.
What is it?
What is the stupidest, dumbest question you've ever been asked about fighting? And you have a lot of them.
I know. I have a lot of them.
What is the one like? Just yeah.
Oh man. Dang, that's a really good. Go ahead, Brian.
How would you do against Ronda Rousey?
You know what? I get that all the time. How would I do against Ronda? Because
that's the dumbest question of all time.
Yeah, I get how would I do against Ronda. I get. You know what? The cab driver actually said it last night. I get this one all the time. Man, I see you fighting on the UFC all the time. I see you all over the place doing all this stuff. I heard you don't make much money, though. I feel like that's super disrespectful. I get that one all the time. Like, man, you guys don't make money, huh? That one's a little weird.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, lately, I get...
Well, I mean, for the most part, with the exception of you and a few other guys, they're right. A lot of guys don't make money. That's the dumb. I'm answering the question for you. The dumbest question is who would do against Ronda Rousey? Well, she's a girl. She fights at 135. All right, moving on.
That's good. That's a great question, though.
So from Christopher Rubright, so the Topher Rubright is asking, when and how did the fighter and the kid bromance begin? How did you guys meet?
You want me to take this one, B?
Go ahead, brother.
So I was a guest coach on the Ultimate Fighter season when Shane Carwin and Roy Nelson were the coaches. Season 15 or some crap like that, one of those slouchy shows. And so Carwin brought me in to speak with the guys and train with them and show some Darce chokes and stuff like that. And Nate Marquardt and Brian Callen were buddies from the movie Warrior. They're on set on that movie The Warrior, if you guys saw that, which I've never seen, but people ask me about it all the time. So Nate brought Brian in to bring like a little comedy relief to the boys in the house. because, it's a long time in the house. And when they brought Brian in, I was there at the same time. I just moved to LA at the time. And, me and Brian were talking back and forth. And I said, where do you live, man? He goes, I live in LA. I said, oh, so where do you live? So we found out we live very close to each other. He said, oh, let's hang out when we get back. And ever since, Brian's took me under his wing, and here we are. Life's
That's
pretty
it.
good.
And you and Shane came to my show that night.
That's right. Yep. We went to dinner. We went to dinner with that. Remember that porn star lawyer? He had the nicest silver ponytail I've ever seen.
Wife and his lawyer. Yep.
That's right. That's right. We were at some Italian restaurant in Venetian with them.
Yep. No, it was Venetian.
And I remember, and the reason I remember so well because this big porn star lawyer was having issues because some guy came out, he had like some STD and stuff with these girls, and I'm literally eating an Italian sausage. This guy pulls out a picture of this guy's spotted penis with purple dots all over
syphilis.
it.
He had syphilis.
He had syphilis, had purple dots all over it. I'm eating a sausage. He pulls this dick pic out. I was like,
I remember that. And you whooped that sausage right down.
I
Now, get us the next question.
Next question.
All right, one last one. It's from where are you here? Joe Kelly. Joe Kelly is asking, where'd you go? Who do you think is the best MMA fighter of all time?
Anderson Silva, without question. Without question.
That's tough.
And number two is St. Pierre. Question.
I mean, yeah, that's a legit argument. I'm an old school guy. I like Fedor. I like Nogueira. I like GSP. I like Anderson Silva. I'm not going to argue. Put any of them in the top 10. I'm not going to argue. Or top 5.
Well, I will because I mean, you talk GSP. Let's just take him, who fought all comers,
I agree.
all killers, beat everybody. Yeah. There's only one difference between GSP and Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva did the exact same thing
and finished
only
everyone.
He finished.
You're right.
Everybody.
You're right.
Just a different animal. Just a different kind of fighter. I don't know. That ability to measure distance. And I think Fedor was so amazing because, first of all, he was amazing. But I feel like once people studied tape of Fedor and worked with guys who knew how to neutralize like that hook and his timing, he got stopped very quickly. So a lot of it was guys were fighting him maybe not as intelligently as some of the upper echelon of the UFC does.
I agree. The game changed a lot. It's always tough. The game changed.
Yeah.
Now you got a whole team of people watching all your tendencies.
Oh yeah.
And that guy's working on nothing but, right?
Yeah.
So
yep.
That's an issue.
All right.
That's an issue.
Cool. One last final question is from Sean Shones at where you at RIC. He asks, would Brian Callen ever think about taking an amateur fight?
No. Here's why. I'm 47. I'm a comedian.
Well, he actually said in the tweet, I pulled it out. He actually said you were 58.
Damn.
Well, I look it. But when I was younger, I did, and I would have for sure, like an idiot, got taken from MMA fights for sure. I love fights.
Listen, you guys out there that ask Brian to take fights, stuff like that. One, Brian's been in a ton of fights from his taekwondo and karate days, a ton of them.
Yep.
So the reason why this podcast works and why we're number one in the world and we destroy all these other podcasts is because you have a fighter, a current UFC heavyweight contender, and you have the kid who's the best comic in the game and the funniest guy in the business. But hey, he knows a ton about fighting. That's why this works. So people ask people ask me all the time, what happens if Brian did this? Brian has a lot of experience in martial arts. That's what's funny. I think it's because Brian's so funny, and they see him on TV and stuff like that. They don't realize Brian has a huge background. Renzo Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. He's had over 100, Taekwondo karate stuff. I mean, the guy's, don't get me wrong, he's a bona fide sissy in LA.
That's one of the first questions that came up when we started talking about you guys coming to Fox Sports was, what does Brian know? And just, you talk to Brian for 5 minutes, you start to begin to understand that he knows and is knowledgeable enough about the fight game to be able to talk about it really, really intelligently.
For sure. One question.
Well, that comes from having respect for the real respect for what real MMA is.
Yeah, and you have a little bit of Pierce Morgan in you too, so that's always good.
Yeah, he does. One question I had that I know, I had two on here. I wanted to go if that's cool with you, DJ.
Yeah, go for it.
B, you ready for this one? This guy says you've dealt with this. I haven't because I'm not married and I'm loving life, and Brian's in Minnesota hating life. Here we go. For now, Madrell _ 1984, Fernando. My in-laws have overstayed their welcome. How do I get them to leave without hurting my wife's feelings? At Brian Callen.
Wait, say that again. How do you get your in-laws?
This
to
guy
leave
says
without
my
hurting your
in-laws
wife's
have
feelings?
overstayed their welcome. How do I get them to leave without hurting my wife's feelings? At Brian Callen, at Brendan Schaub.
Just fake a very contagious illness. Start coughing and scratching your body. Go to the doctor, stage a fake visit to the doctor, come back and tell them that you have leprosy.
Now, if they're good parents, are they like, well, we should probably stay and take care of you?
What's that?
I mean, if they're good, in-laws, they're going to say, well, we're going to stay and take care of you. They're not going to leave. That's a horrible idea, Brian. They're going to be there until your rickets are gone.
You have somebody come there in a lab coat from the Center for Disease Control and
say it's contagious?
And they say, I'm sorry, everybody has to leave the premise.
All right. Well, all right. That's crazy, but all right. They're good. Try that, my man. Let us if you do that, let us know how it goes. # firing the kid. And then this is we'll end on this one, Brian. We'll end with the fan questions. By the way, the questions were amazing. The Firing the Kid fans you guys are amazing. This is dope. We tweeted this last night. We probably had over 200 questions, legit questions. Sure, 175 of them were, when's your next fight? However, the 25 that we've spit off right now are legit. All right, last one, B. It's from Jonathan Kurbis at Ronin513. At Brian Callen, at Big Brown. Have you always had the drive in you, or did you have to find it? I feel like I've lost my drive. What should I do? Go ahead and start with this one, Brian, because you have to have drive every day. You have to be creative. If you slouch, listen, your wife's not riding horses. Your kid's not freaking, playing the trumpet or whatever the hell he does.
You got to ask yourself you got to constantly ask yourself what you really want, and that's why I always say you got to take a look at where you want to be in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years. You got to see that. Really ask yourself. If you lost your drive, you're not asking yourself what it is you really want and what you're doing. Because if you really start to focus on what you want and admit to yourself what you want, which is a very difficult thing to do, you got to face up to a lot of stuff. If you do that, what will happen is you will. First of all, you'll be very surprised at how hard it is to really pinpoint what you want. But you have to ask the question, and it'll cause you to face up to everything that you don't want to face up to. And I think from there, you just keep reassessing your goals.
Sure.
And it really starts with what you want. It really does.
Listen, I'm going to quote Matthew McConaughey here. And when he won the Oscar the other night, and he was talking about drive, and he was talking about determination, and it hit home because he said he took it one step at a time, and what he said to himself was, where do I want to be in a year, in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years? He took it one step at a time, and his thing is I want to be my hero. When I think about heroes, I say in 3 months, when people ask me who's your hero, I want to be my hero. He's never going to reach that. He's never going to attain that goal where, he's his own hero, right? That's a metaphor. All he's saying is he's making the right choices to, in a year, he's going to be at where if right now he could look in the future, that would be his hero. So I do the exact same thing. I do the exact same thing. I think in a year from now, if I'm a random fan and I run into Brendan Schaub, I want that kid to be like, dang, this kid's doing all that. He's my hero. So I want to be in a year. I have all these goals. I have goals in the next 3 months, but you got to start somewhere. If you've lost your drive, athletically, if you've lost your drive, you're screwed. Because as soon as you lose your drive, you're competing against guys who have more drive than you. You've lost it before you even start camp.
But Brendan, also, like you say, surround yourself by people that inspire you. Part of the thing that's great about Tim Tebow is he sets a really high bar and a great example. Listen,
all you guys do. You look at the people I hang out with. Tim Tebow, Brian Callen. These are the people I hang out with most. Tim Tebow, Brian Callen, Ronda Rousey, Tony Jeffries, Hiron Henner Gracie. There you go. That's my clique. Look at those people. Not only are these people motivated and extremely disciplined, but we all have one goal. We're all aspiring to be better. You cannot have someone in that group who's content with life, because guess what? They're not running with the pack. Lions run together. So you know what you need to do, my man, who doesn't have motivation? Go find some other lions, go find a lion and jump on board with him and get some motivation. Go run with other lions. If right now you're chilling with a bunch of sheep and gazelle and you're happy with your life and you can't wait for it to be Friday so you can go to happy hour, you need to go hang out with my boy with the Cheeto fingers with the Grateful Dead shirt on, and I'll have a pep talk with both of you. Go find a lion, get motivated. Dude, get after it.
That's great advice.
There you go.
Great advice.
Go
Surround
yourself with some lions. Go surround yourself with some lions. Ditch the gazelles. No one wants to be a gazelle. There you go.
Great metaphor and great advice. That's how we should end this podcast, boys.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
We can do that.
Yeah, where are you going to be, Brian? You got any plugs?
I'm gonna be here I'm in Bloomington, Minnesota, at the House of Comedy, Rick Monson's House of Comedy in the Mall of America.
And you're there Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't play around. It's a long weekend.
Dang. All right, people. Go see Brian Callen, Mall of America. Anyone who shouts out Big Brown and can prove it, I will send you a free Fighting the Kid t-shirt and a signed 8x10. Harass them, heckle them, yelling out Big Brown, Fighter and the Kid. This is The Kid in L.A. That's Brian Callen at Mall of America. Producer DJ, Mark Hunt, do something. We're out.
Peace.
Later, brother.